because the violence from his mother is related to his mother's deep mental issue.
Hello, welcome back to our Common Concerns podcast. Can the powerless start change? This is a question that we are going to discuss today. And I'm very pleased to have the conversation with my colleague here, Duan Zhipeng. Zhipeng is currently a postdoc in our department, but he has a somehow slightly unusual background as well as slightly unusual work experience because you have been a designer and a design researcher. So my first question for you, Zhipeng, is curious but also serious. So how does it feel being a designer in a department that is completely dominated by anthropologists?
Wow, somehow I feel that my working experience here deeply conditioned my academic vocation. And previously in my design practice and experience, I was somehow taught to think about the change.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, you need to redesign the material, a chair, and in the public space as a way. So in my teaching experience, in my education experience, change somehow is a fundamental word that we need to think. But on the other hand, so there are some assumption in the previous practice and education about the change is deeply related to the social structure, and some larger scale change is important. If you want to improve the world, or if you want to really extend your force to the world, and as a designer, you need to think about it, how to reshape the social structure and reshape the human relations in a significant way.
Mm-hmm.
But when I work here, I notice some very nuanced way of thinking change, which is somehow influenced me very deeply about even my future career, about even when I don't work in an anthropological department anymore. It still is a part of my practical philosophy. So this part is somehow not related to the larger scale, the culture shift or the social change, or not just related to the behavior change. This morning I get up a bit earlier. So design can always think about the behavior change is important because that is visible. But now I come to realize that change is significantly related to how one is connected or is think about the relationship to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And is it a attuned relationship, or is it a relationship with many tensions? And that part is becoming more and more important to me and to think about it. And especially our department, one key topic is about the life force or the life power. And that can make me think about that the change somehow is related to that, how one can cultivate the force or the power or the patience or the brave that can help this person to deal with its relationship to others. And in a way, I become more patient to deal with the problem that I encountered in my life. And that is a very important part in the change. Previously, the problem solving is very important in the design discourse. We need to give a solution to really solve a problem as a direction. But now I feel that is elite perspective to think about it, how the change could happen from top to down perspective. We need to give a solution to a social issues and implement it as a direction. But now it's about that, how we can give our own force, our own energy to continue to act, to continue our life, even simply, as a way to think about how change could happen. And then that led to the powerlessness issue. And this topic somehow come very naturally to me to think about the powerlessness. So when I think about this podcast, I'm thinking that maybe the topic could be the powerlessness in action. To keep it simply, and we change it in the powerlessness. And powerlessness in action means that it is a situation that you already cite yourself with the necessity of action, and you know that your life has some problem, and this problem, you are also aware of that this problem cannot be solved simply by your own action. And how do you deal with this? So this tension creates a feeling of the powerlessness.
Mm-hmm.
And I can give you maybe an example from my interlocutor with the...
Then before that, probably I just to summarize what you said and make sure that I follow your thought. And of course, I'm very pleased to hear that you experienced that change yourself. No? So what change have you experienced? The notion of change itself. So previously, I think it is probably commonly held understanding of change. Change means solution. Change means I shift from situation A to situation B, and the change means something big. And as if small change is never sufficient, and the serious change must be systemic change and structural change. And then you said the new understanding of change actually is not, first of all, it's not a solution. And number two is not a shift of situation that can be observed immediately from outside. It seems to me that you are really emphasizing the potential of change. It is, you feel things are changeable, and all things are already started changing. Probably that is more important than the actual end result of shifting situation. And thirdly, the change in the new understanding is very relational. Is not whether I have changed the outside situation or myself, right? Get up a bit earlier. But the change is how I define my relation to my environment. Is my relation to the world in such a way that actually I can change things, or the relation in such a way that I can't do anything? That probably lead to your just the explanation about the powerlessness now. And finally, it's the notion of life power is a English translation of the Chinese notion of 生命力. Roughly, it means the energy or agency of person. You feel that you possess and you can deploy in dealing with external world. No? Because when you can, for instance, a person is very busy doing lots of things, but that person may not feel she or he has this life power if the person has no freedom in deciding what does they do. No? I mean, you can be extremely efficient, you can be extremely successful in executing certain tasks, but you don't feel that you are full of this like life power. So that is the change is also associated that kind of self-perception that I have life power. And then you mentioned that the probably powerlessness is a feeling that actually you cannot make any change. If we define change that way, probably the powerlessness can be defined quite relatively simply as a lack of possibility of change. But you put it very nicely. Actually, the moment we feel powerlessness most sharply is a moment when we have a strong desire for change, but you see no possibility for change, right? Is that so?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So then can you give us some examples from your research and design?
Yeah. So this example came from one of my interlocutors who are now working in Hangzhou in a technique company, a very good technique company, which means that you need to prepare a lot from the computation for the recruitment to be there. So she worked really hard in that company for a game designer in a time frame like 996, which means that starting work from 9 and end the work at 9 p.m. and working 6 days every week. And I asked her, like, what is the most difficult time that in your working days So I anticipated maybe the every day of starting the working could be a very difficult, very hard to restart it. And she told me, no, it's not the starting. There are two difficult times. The first is where the working ends. And she said that it's very difficult to think about it. I still need to work tomorrow in the same way like this. And that make me feel that the future is no future. And another is a rest time, the Sunday. Like I quite surprised about the Sunday because somehow I feel that Sunday is like a recharging process, and you can give more energy to feel the disaster of the next week. But she said that during the rest of the Sunday, she often played the game. But she's a game designer. She needs to play the game, and because the reason she chose to work in a game company is because loving game.
Okay.
And so she
sounds like a dream job.
Yeah, very dream job. And playing the game during the weekend. But you cannot always play the game all the days. And for the rest, she doesn't know what to do for the rest. And she cannot rest. She said that what she can only do for many moments is like a counting time. And second by second to wait for the Sunday is over. And that make me feel that why the rest is not enough for continue working in the next week. So if in a rational thinking, and Sunday is for the rest, and we will have enough energy, and we can continue it and to the retirement. But this is not so sustainable, and the rest is impossible. And that makes me feel that this is the situation of the powerlessness somehow, because she cannot choose to do anything else during the Sunday. Perhaps if she had some like life force, she may have the opportunity to talk with others, to complain about the work, complain about my colleagues, and as a way to carry on things. But she cannot. She can only sit in the home and waiting for the time is over. And that is the situation of the powerlessness. And the powerlessness maybe is related to the reaction, the immediate reaction to the situation of the powerlessness is cutting off. Is keep a distance from the thing that make you feel suffering. And as a very immediate reaction to
how to cut off?
Like cut myself from any other social connection, sitting in the home and waiting for the weekend is over, and without any bridging any connection to others. And that is my understanding of the cutting off. And you can also observe some other way of cutting off as a way to responding to the powerlessness. Like many young generation in China now, they're choosing to live together with some people who have also some other issues in their life, living together away from the city, and as an experimental approach of living together and keep a distance from the everyday social reproduction and this process. And that is also a way of cutting off my relations with others or with other social roles. And
because they feel just have no energy to reach out, to go out to meet friends. So is that the main reason why people become so static and isolated when they feel powerless?
On the one hand, I feel that cutting off is very important for the mental well-being. If you feel the suffering from a relationship, keep a distance from it. It's a very nice way to keep yourself from continuing to be suffered from that. But cut off cannot solve the issue of the attachment. You still have some attachment with that issue. And to come to your question, I feel that this is kind of immediate reaction, and from that, and cutting off is also imply that there's no other way that you can directly solve it. And you have a desire to solve the problem in your life, and even in a permanent way. Like I need to really. So maybe for example, in a young love relationship, the way of breaking up, very common in China, is like I need to delete this person wholly in my life, from the
erase completely,
completely, and erase it as a way to deal with my relationship with this person. And this somehow imply a desire of a permanent solution and of the suffering of my bad experience, of my uncomfortableness. But it also implies that I cannot solve it. That's the reason I need to cut it off. Otherwise, I can just solve it like in a permanent way, dealing with a young love relationship. No. So there's a tension between I want to solve it and make my life better, but I cannot really solve it. And I am aware of it, the unsolvable of this issue. And especially in the working environment, the relationship, many people are suffering from the relationship with the colleagues. And the only way maybe to solve it is to resign, or is to be waiting to be laid off. That is the reaction, the immediate reaction of choosing the laid off, choose the cutting off as a way to responding to the powerlessness issue. And so it led me to a theoretical way to think about the powerlessness, because in my research background, I chose the affordance as a perspective to understand the powerlessness. Affordance means that our surrounding always give us some possibility of action, and the chair invite me to sit on it, and it give me a possibility of action. Powerlessness means the situation that even though, like James Gibson, the coin who coins the affordances idea, and he said that our world is full of the possibility of action, and even though you cannot perceive it, but it is there. And from this direction, I'm thinking that powerlessness means that despite this world is full of the possibility of action, but you are not able to be invited in this environment. So this possibility don't invite you anymore, and you cannot perceive any other possibility in my life except continuing to repeat my current approach. And so that's this theoretical perspective shift this issue of the powerlessness as a feeling to an issue of the perception, an issue that how you perceive your relationship with the world as the anchor point for my research or for my exploration, especially design exploration.
That's I just, again, to recap, I mean, the common sense understanding of powerlessness is, as you said, is a feeling of the lack of power inside of you. But you want to move the understanding from feeling to perception. So it is actually the reason that you feel you are powerless is because you, for some reason, are not able to see all these affordance are actually there, and you don't see the world is quite dynamic, and there are lots of opportunities, and you see the world as one black wall that crushing you. Is that what you mean? Is how? Yeah. So then from here, it's from your design point of view. I mean, can they make a change?
A simple question. Maybe the easy answer is no. Is you cannot simply change the word or change it, but you can try. So maybe later I will share more concrete example about my understanding of change. So the change that is possible, not to change the word or change the material, but possible change. What does it look like? Here I want to bring forward the idea about related to the perception and the powerlessness is confrontation. It is about so confrontation means that when you put yourself immediate to the word in an immediate sense, that without any meditation about the meaning, about the signal, about something, just put yourself there, you always can find more possibility that is still waiting for you, and still hold other potential that can trigger some other potential alternative pace that for your life there. And this is kind of recondition your relation, reattune yourself with the word by gradually knowing some other things that you can still do. I can give you an example, and we have discussed it before because this is some project we did together, which is called Seeing the First 500 Meters. And to give more background, this project is about the reason we call it the first 500 meters is to as a reaction to the last 500 meters, which is about to how to think about your life as your life, not a part of the city. And
I just jump in. The last 500 meters is a word used by platform economy as well as government in China. The idea is that how the system can overcome the last 500 meters, therefore to make sure all these deliveries can reach each individual and household without any obstacles. And likewise, how the government can reach all citizens immediately without any obstacles, remove the last 500 meters obstacles. But the first 500 meters, turn this around.
Yeah. So in this workshop, and we invited around 40, more than 40 participants, especially young citizens, as a participants. And they participate in this workshop by taking a kind of so-called fieldwork, but not exactly anthropological fieldwork. It is about by seeing your nearby, by seeing your surrounding again, and as a way...
Your first 500 meters between you and the world.
Yes.
Starting from you, not starting from the platform economy or government.
Yeah. By rethink about this surrounding again as a way to explore your own concern. And the end of this workshop is creating some art as a way to represent this process of exploration, or represent the question that you're worried about, or represent that how you react to the issue. So it's quite open-ended workshop, but only with simply creating some art, even just a poster or a poem as a result, it should also be fine. So quite open-ended. And this example is from this workshop, and the participant, his name is Li Feng. In preparation of this podcast, I revisit this Li Feng's writing again and find many things very, very touching. Like so Li Feng, at the very beginning of this workshop, and we are asked, and one of our hosts, Jason Ho, who co-organized this workshop with me and Biao, and Jason. So in some conversation between Li Feng and Jason, and Li Feng said that I want to do something with city work, and city work is my way of engaging the nearby, and I am also a photographer. So taking photos in the nearby and find something interesting in the city view could be a artwork in the end. So that is the very beginning of it. And then Jason come to realize that Li Feng cannot stay in a room where all window is closed in a very long time. And he always needs some fresh air and always need to go outside to take some fresh air. And so they have some conversation about why city work, why you chose city work as a way of art making. And this led to some deep issue related to his mother. And he talked about a lot about the violence that come from his mother. And that is the first touching part to me. Like Li Feng started to list many things that related to the violence, like what kind of things that my mother used for the violence.
When he was young.
Yeah, when he was young, many years ago. And he even listed the level of the pain that's created by different material. And like book, the pain of level is quite low, but there's something very, very painful. So, this direction lead to an idea of the art making, which is related to a voice activated lamp. So this is a lamp, a light that can be controlled by your voice. And the reason he chose to use this as a material for the art making is because during his childhood, and his mother always push him away from home and push him in the corridor of his home, and this is a very dark corridor. So the light is very important for himself to make self safe and in the environment. So he chose to use the lamp as a material for the art making. Then the scenes continue to change afterwards. And afterwards, Jason said that maybe we can revisit the place where you live with your mother, like 10 years ago.
To see the corridor where...
Yeah, to see the corridor. And that's changed things again. And in that corridor, in that building, which in the Shipei, which is a kind of migrants village inside Guangzhou, in Li Feng's writing, he wrote, like, at that moment, I come to a desire of understanding my mother. And he said that, so, and in this environment, I realized that my childhood is not just about the pain. I still also have many happy experience with my mom. Like we go to supermarket together, and she also bought some my favorite foods and snacks to me. And I also remembered my experience of watching the drama video with my uncle. Many good experience, and come to realize that my mother's mental issue it doesn't come from nowhere. And it must have some reason related to this mental issue. Because the violence from his mother is related to his mother's deep mental issue, and also that's related to his mother's childhood, and this is connection there. But this kind of the feeling that I want to know more about my mom is touched me quite a lot, and let me feel that. And afterwards, this artwork, the idea of the art making, continue shift. So the third round of the ideation is maybe I can record my conversation with my mom as the third phase of this ideation. And in this ideation, and Li Feng tried to record the voice and the film that's of everyday conversation between him and his mother.
Often it's coloring,
Yeah. And so in this kind of recording process, and Li Feng started to force himself to stay a bit longer with his mom. in that environment.
In order to record more.
In order to create art.
Yeah.
But this somehow changed the atmosphere. I don't say the relationship, but the atmosphere between his mom and himself. So previously, if his mom goes back to home, he will immediately go to his own room and keep a distance from his mom. But to record a better quality of art, and he forced himself stay a bit longer in the environment, and somehow he found that his mom's voice become lower and lower, and
softer.
Yeah, and there's some situation he eat together with his mom in a same living room, but in different table, and his mom living in an open kitchen, and he eat in the living room separately and quietly and keep a distance, but it's keep a kind of awareness of the more relationship, more. So it is a process of building more understanding of his mom by seeing her more times and again. And that make me feel that the confrontation is a way that of taking extra efforts to know more about your environment and to know more about others, and as a way to feed our own self and to rethink that what kind of relationship with ourselves and the world. So as you can see that in this process, the first art is photograph of the city, and the second is the is a lamp, is that, and the third is the film or the recording of the voice with with between Li Feng and his mother. And the second one is very touching, because this is somehow a process of feeling my own pain, of feeling what I was suffered in this process, and the light, and that make me feel better in the domestic violence. But the third one is turning the perspective to the outward, turning your perspective to see others and with your relations. And this is very important repelling. I'm not saying the repelling about the relationship between himself and his mother. It's a repelling of his relationship to the world. And because afterwards, so in our last revisiting to Guangzhou to meet Li Feng, and we find that Li Feng now keep a distance with his mom. And I feel this is very important, because this is where change happens. This is he might got the potential to know that detachment with mom is fine, and it is also a way to know my relationship with mother. It's also a new way to think about the relationship, and that is a very profound change for me too. It is a very profound change, and it is from my perspective.
Yeah, that's a very moving story. And in our last episode, in the conversation with Dr. Alf Gelach, we also talked about confrontation. And he mentioned he is a psychoanalyst, and he said when he listened to a patient narrating spontaneously, and he will notice there's some defense mechanisms emerging in the patient's mind. So, the narrative stopped, become hesitant, and at that moment, he said he would intervene. He would confront. He would confront, for instance, the patient say, "Oh, I have this problem. It's really difficult. It's impossible to solve." And he will intervene to say, "Really? Do you really feel that way?" No? he called it a confrontation in the psychoanalysis, a sense. And I think that'd be very interesting to bring different disciplines together to think of how a change can be made for the people who feel they are powerless. But here I want just to push a little more. In the Li Feng's processes, you say what make a change is that you see your immediate environment directly. And this is Hegel has a concept called the pure looking. Because when you look at it purely, I think German is reine zu sehen. When you see it purely, you see the things is no longer a wall, is no longer a wall. The wall is full of holes. Because if you look at distance or you imagine the wall is completely one piece. But if you're really purely looking at the wall becomes medicine. You see a lot of worms. You see there is a little plant going on. There is a piece of grass actually growing from the wall, and etc. But here you said this way of seeing is a very particular one. It's not simply you're paying attention to your environment. You call it a confrontation. Confrontation as if it is happening at a certain moment. There's a sharp turning point. And of course, you need a certain mobilization and courage to see what you have not able to see or you do not want to see before, right? So in this Li Feng's story, it seems that go back to the dark corridor is a moment of the turning point, and then in the living room making recording is another moment. Can you say a little more about the notion of confrontation? And is my understanding correct? Actually, you wanted to emphasize some turning point, so it's not necessarily a kind of even long-term linear accumulation or progression, but there is a turning point there.
I think two way of thinking confrontation is also very important, because they are all very important from design perspective. So my intuitive way of thinking it is from an intervention perspective. So from intervention perspective, the turning point in the small time frame. So it's very important to notice the change, or to notice how since it's been processed. But I do feel that the long-term time frames, the confrontation is even more important than this kind of dramatic turning point and to see the life change. So as you said at the very beginning, the change is not about from the situation A to situation B. So in the Li Feng story, we cannot understand that. So in this process, he got some new understanding of his mother, and only in this very short period, like 3 months or a half year, and to see that and he got a new way to deal with the relationship with mom. That is impossible. So the long time frame is very important to keep. So it is a very a tinkering process, or the continuous adaptive approach. Like you gradually adjust your positionality, adjust your distance with this issue, and find some position that make yourself comfortable, and this issue is still there. And in our last discussion conversation with Li Feng, he said that the issue with my mom still means a lot in my life. But at present, I can choose not to focus too much on it. And I have some other things need to do immediately. So this is like a positionality adjustment gradually, but it's still there. So confrontation is from a short time frame, is force yourself to see it a bit longer. That is a part of the training of the design, that when you say it, you will find it is very strange. You will find you will see many details that you cannot see it, you cannot imagine it only by your imagination, like the thick of the material and touching it. And so it can only be this kind of information or this kind of sense can only be get from long-term observation directly. But I also feel that this kind of observation cannot be a very long action or long behavior. You can see it like from an hour, but I cannot force myself to see it the whole day. But constantly see it is another way. I'm not sure the relationship between this constant observation with this kind of short-term but long observation. So maybe there are two different forms of confrontation. That is, they are all very important.
Apart from confrontation, and so I guess you have other examples, observations about how powerlessness can make change.
I can give you another example, is which is related to the patients.
Medical patients?
No, patients.
Oh, patients.
Be patient or patients.
Then related to question of time.
Yeah. This is related to time. Maybe two quick examples. The first is that in my current course with the first year undergraduate students of art, I invite them to give observation to the people surroundings, and one choose to observe a store manager of a vintage clothes. And in the first round of the observation, he wrote a very long report about how to improve the store. Okay. Like this manager is not so professional in the live stream, and I have experience of live stream. I can teach you how to use a more professional language, how to attract the users, how to really improve the everyday visiting rate. And I said, maybe you can take a bit longer to see it. And afterwards, she visits the manager's live stream, the e-commerce live stream room online, and said that, and in that room, on the evening, there are only 2 viewers, and with the manager in that room. So
the room you mean on the screen?
No, on the screen, on the live stream room digitally. Yeah. And she saw the manager is crying because this manager is trying to force herself to be very active in this living room, even without any audience. And she said that, this is very beautiful. You may have some question about it, and try to force herself very much about it. And she found that he's crying, and no one is there. And she become more understanding about this person, even about herself. And she said that at the very beginning, I thought that the purpose is about making money. So my observation should help her making money. But now I feel that this store manager, she suffered a lot from this. And perhaps there are more things to be understood. And especially how we can help this emotional issue, and how we can really to know that how this manager can commit herself in this store for so long time, even without any good feedback from it. And this is a process of making self become more patient and become more patient about the issue, about others, and without a feeling that I can control it. I can really, and this is for me, it is a very significant change. That even in a very short time, even in the 2 rounds of the observation. So that is also a way that be more patient about the life issues, and waiting and to see that anything that would encounter. So the time frame is very important. But to be honest, from a design perspective, my understanding of the time is very short time frame. It's not lifetime. So I can imagine that from a lifetime frame, the confrontation is strongly related to how you how you deal with the deep issue that repeatedly and again and again and generating new understanding. That is maybe another time scale or time ecology of life.
Yeah, that's great. And the confrontation and the reconfrontation, I guess. Yeah. So that is a wonderful conversation again. And I learned a lot, especially about this time frame, because modern narrative about the change and the revolution, especially nowadays, technological change, everything is very, very compressed, as if, the shorter time, the bigger change, the better, as life is all like a drama. But actually that makes people often feel very powerless. So it's true, if you just look at one slice of your life and you evaluate, and everyone feels it's completely powerless. But if you feel more flow of the event, and then you see it more clearly, then we will probably accumulate more life power in ourselves. So I guess our podcast series, in a way, is also short confrontation plus long time continuity. Every episode probably is a kind of confrontation. My conversation with my guest, and also we want to try to raise some questions to confront the audience and let the audience confront some our ideas. But then we never just do one or two, but we always try to build up something from the continuity of the series. So with this spirit, and once again, thank you very much, Zhipeng, and thank you for watching us, and until next time, thank you.
Common Concerns Podcast.